Distinguished faculty, esteemed guests, alumni, proud families and friends, and most importantly, the extraordinary graduating class of UC San Diego School of Medicine. Welcome. To our 55th commencement ceremony. I am Dr. Michelle Daniel, Vice Dean for Medical Education, and I'm honored to serve as your Master of Ceremonies today. To our graduating seniors, on behalf of the entire School of Medicine faculty and staff, congratulations on reaching this remarkable milestone. Today, and I will tell you folks, it's going to be a long day in the heat, so you're going to want to hold some of the applause so that you're not here all day. But thank you. Today we celebrate not only your accomplishments, but the journey that you've taken to get here. You entered medical school during a period of extraordinary societal change and polarization, and at a time when science, medicine, research, and higher education have increasingly faced public scrutiny and challenge, and you chose to dedicate yourselves to evidence, discovery, service, and healing. And through it all, you continued to lead with compassion, professionalism, humility, and purpose. These past 4 years have tested your resolve, but they've also revealed your strength. The class of 2026 will be remembered not only for your resilience, but for your purpose. You are physicians who heal, who advocate, who innovate, and lead. And the world needs you now more than ever. This morning, we are honored to celebrate alongside distinguished leaders, faculty, alumni, mentors, and families, and friends who have supported you throughout this incredible journey. Thank you all for being here to recognize and celebrate the remarkable achievements of the class of 2026. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the Chancellor of UC San Diego, Dr. Pradeep Khosla. Chancellor Khosla is a globally recognized leader in engineering and higher education, a trailblazer whose innovations in electrical and computer engineering have earned him election to some of the world's most prestigious academies and numerous honors for his contributions to research, teaching, and leadership. But beyond his academic accolades, Chancellor Khosla is a visionary. Under his leadership, UC San Diego has grown not only in global reputation, but in its commitment to being a student-centered, service-oriented public university, the best public university, a place that transforms lives and expands opportunity for all. His bold thinking and relentless drive have helped shape UC San Diego into the powerhouse it is today. Please join me in welcoming Chancellor Pradeep Khosla.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Dean Daniel. Good morning again. Good morning. Are you not happy to be here? Finally? Between this and real graduation, still a signature missing, and that's mine. I just want you to be aware. Okay. So good morning, graduates, families, friends, faculty, and staff. It's my pleasure to join you today for this very, very special occasion. The UC San Diego School of Medicine, class of 2026. I say congratulations, congratulations. Today marks an important achievement, one that reflects years of discipline, years of sacrifice, years of hard work, and years of determination. And it's very hard to maintain all of this year after year, day after day. So you are amazingly resilient people. So today, you're earning a degree from one of the top medical schools in the country. UC San Diego School of Medicine continues to earn national recognition and distinction as a Tier 1 best medical school for research and primary care by the US News and World Report. UC San Diego is ranked number 4 amongst public institutions in the nation for NIH funding, which serves as a powerful reflection of the strength of a research enterprise. And you trained at UC San Diego Health, the #1 best hospital in San Diego, where world-class care and discovery go hand in hand. And these recognitions are important. It may not seem important to you today, but as you go in life, you will see that these recognitions add to your pedigree and add a sheen to your degree and to yourselves. But in spite of this, what matters most is that what they make possible for students like you. At UC San Diego, our vision is to be a public university that is student-centered, research-driven, patient-dedicated, and that's why you're all here, and service-oriented. One that prepares leaders not only to succeed in their professions, but to improve the world around them. That vision comes to life. That vision comes to life as you graduate today and embark on your careers. Throughout your time here, you have served patients, you have served communities, and you have served them both with empathy and purpose. You have volunteered countless hours at UC San Diego's free medical clinics. You have contributed to discoveries and advances across fields such as cardiology, neurology, cancer, diabetes, and infectious disease, just to name a few. These are not my favorite. I just named a few randomly. You have transformed lives and through your learning and through your service. And already you have made your mark on your local community, and you're just getting started. As graduates, you'll be the heroes of healthcare and champions of the well-being of well-being in your communities. So I encourage you to do your part to bridge the critical gaps in healthcare and wherever you practice. I encourage you to lead with curiosity and serve with humility. I encourage you to use your education to seek out innovative solutions to the world's most pressing health problems. And never lose sight of the human connection that is at the heart of healing. You are the next generation of doctors and scientists entering our communities. You are ready to change the world for the better, and I also want to recognize that many people who have supported you on this journey, your family, your friends, your professors, your peers, and your mentors are here today. So please give them a big hand, please. So graduates, as you become alumni, know that UC San Diego will always be your home. We hope you will stay connected to your alma mater and to one another. And if you did not know this, sometime in late summer, we're going to open the Alumni Center. How many of you have seen the Alumni Center? Have you seen it? No, okay. On the way back, you will see it. It's a cylindrical building with LEDs all around it, and it is a beacon that asks you to come home every so often. And we hope that you'll come back to our campus more often than you want, but more often than you want, and you will come here to inspire the next generation of change makers with your wisdom, with your expertise. I'd also like to invite you all to our all-campus commencement on June 13th, which is 12 days from now. And it is a celebration of all of our graduates with this year's keynote speaker, alumni, and Nobel laureate, Fred Ramsdell. I hope you will join us as we come together to celebrate your achievements and this incredible milestone of graduating from one of the world's best universities. So today, we not only celebrate what you have achieved, we also celebrate the people around you who have made you come here. So congratulations, class of 2026, and congratulations to family and friends.
Thank you, Chancellor Khosla. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Associate Vice Chancellor and Dean for the School of Medicine, Dr. Barbara Young. A renowned physician scientist and national leader in academic medicine, Dean Young is an expert in gastrointestinal cancers whose groundbreaking research has advanced our understanding of tumor biology, health disparities, and cancer prevention. She has served in leadership roles at top institutions across the country, and most recently was the chair of the Department of Medicine at the University of Washington, one of the largest departments of medicine in the country. But today is also a homecoming, for Dr. Young's journey in medicine began right here at UC San Diego, where she completed her internal medicine residency, gastroenterology fellowship, as well as held her first faculty position. She helped shape the training of young physicians, launched key education programs, and mentored countless students and trainees during her years on our campus. In January of last year, she returned to UC San Diego to serve as dean, bringing with her not only a brilliant mind, but also a deep commitment to education, innovation, and the next generation of physician leaders. Please join me in welcoming Dean Young.
Thank you, Dean Daniel. To our graduates, congratulations. Today, you join a long line of physicians and scientists who have trained at one of the best medical schools in the country, where excellence, innovation, and collaboration are the foundation of our culture and our identity. It is such an honor to speak to you today, not only as Associate Vice Chancellor and Dean, but as someone, as Dean Daniel said, who returned to this institution after spending my formative years here, both in residency and fellowship. The UC San Diego campus is where I met my husband, and the medical center in Hillcrest is where our daughter Zoe was born. My training at UC San Diego solidified my career path as physician-scientist. But more importantly, my experience at UC San Diego made me a lifelong learner. I know that may not sound like the most appealing thing right now, particularly after 4 years of hitting the books. I understand that many of you cannot wait to be done with what seemed like endless studying. But I have news for you. You're not done. As you enter this next stage of life, I challenge you to remain passionate learners. Approach everything you see and all things around you with curiosity. As Socrates said, education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. As physicians, we're in the business of humanity. Educate yourself about your fellow humans. They're fascinating. Read, debate, listen. Continue to refine your understanding of what life is all about. Never stop. Be amused and empathic. With this, you will continue to grow and feel invigorated while doing so. Become the best healers, teachers, and innovators. Lead and inspire others. And have fun. Show the communities you're joining what it means to be lifelong learners. Create followership, delight, and come back to us. I did. Congratulations, graduate. Welcome to the UC San Diego School of Medicine community of lifelong learners.
Thank you, Dean Young. It is now my pleasure to introduce Vice Chancellor for Health Sciences, Dr. John Carruthers. Dr. Carruthers is a nationally respected leader in academic medicine, a physician scientist whose career has spanned groundbreaking research, clinical excellence, and executive leadership, and he's widely recognized for advancing equity in medicine and transforming how we train, support, and care for diverse communities. He has held leadership roles in some of the most prestigious medical organizations in the country and is a proud member of the National Academy of Medicine. As Vice Chancellor, he brings a broad and visionary perspective to UC San Diego, integrating the missions of research, education, and clinical care across our entire health sciences enterprise. His work has helped guide us through complex challenges while creating new opportunities for growth and innovation. Please join me in welcoming Vice Chancellor Carruthers.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel. Good morning, esteemed faculty, proud families, friends, and most importantly, your remarkable class of 2026. First of all, let me give you a congratulations. As I stand here today, I am filled with deep admiration for each one of you. Your journey through medical school has been marked by a profound commitment to the art and science of healing. It is truly an honor to address you today. Reflecting on my own journey, I remember the mix of exhilaration and trepidation. I'm sure you're experiencing some of that now. As I stepped into the world of medicine, the path ahead was unknown, filled with challenges and unexpected turns, yet also brimming with opportunities to make a difference. I see that same spark in all of your eyes. A blend of hope, determination, and a readiness to take on whatever comes your own way. You are becoming a physician at a time of rapid change and unprecedented challenges. Recent years have tested the resilience and adaptability of healthcare systems worldwide. Yet, amidst all these trials, you have witnessed the power of innovation, the importance of empathy, and the strength of a united community. You have seen how critical your role will be in shaping the future of healthcare. As you move forward, remember that the essence of your medicine lies in the relationships you build with your own patients. Your knowledge and skills are vital, but it is your humanness and your compassion and your ability to listen and your genuine care that will leave a lasting impact. Be the doctor who not only treats the illness, but also comforts the soul. Remember also that patient care is never the work of just one individual alone. It is a result of physicians, nurses, specialists, and healthcare teams working together for that common goal of taking care of the patient. Through strong collaboration, we can ensure that every patient receives the comprehensive, compassionate care they absolutely deserve. And keep in mind, many of you will be patients in the future as well. Finally, take care of your own selves. The road you are about to embark on is demanding and at times overwhelming. Prioritize your own well-being. Lean on your support systems. You have many of your family here today. And find balance in your life. Your ability to care for others is deeply connected to how well you care for your own self. Today marks the beginning, not the end, the beginning of an incredible journey for you. As you don now your soon-to-be carried long white coats and step into the world as physicians, remember that you are not alone. You are part of a vast and supportive community that believes in you and stands beside you. Congratulations to all of you, class of 2026. We are truly immensely proud of each and every one of you, and we cannot wait to see the remarkable impact you will have on this world as a graduate from UC San Diego. Go forth with confidence, compassion, and the unwavering belief that you have the power to change lives. Congratulations, class.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Carruthers. I would now like to introduce Vasan Jagadish. Today's speaker from the graduating class of 2026. Vasan grew up in San Ramon, California, and graduated from the University of Washington in Seattle in 2021, where he majored in physiology and bioethics. During medical school, Vasan pursued a wide range of interests, including contributing to research, mentoring students pursuing careers in healthcare, and leading the Healthcare Innovation and Interventional Radiology interest groups on campus. Vasan is thrilled to be continuing his medical training as a resident physician in interventional radiology at Stanford in Palo Alto, California. Please welcome me, please join me in welcoming Vasan Jagadish.
Good morning, family, friends, faculty, and most importantly, my lovely classmates of the class of 2026. Standing here today feels both surreal and earned. It feels that not too long ago, we walked into orientation on those first few days of medical school, eagerly picking out our white coat sizes and smiling so wide and big for those initial professional headshots. What stands between that first day and today, this moment of celebration, this moment of pride, and everything we have worked toward, is years of steady effort, resilience, and truly a commitment to something larger than ourselves. We often talk about medical school as something we've endured. The long days and nights, the exams, the uncertainty, and the constant sense that there's always something more to learn. But that framing is a bit incomplete. What we've really been doing this entire time is not just enduring a process, but rather undergoing a beautiful transformation. At the center of that transformation is something we don't often name: learning how to let go. To let go of certainty, to let go of perfection, to let go of those versions of ourselves we thought we were supposed to be. We arrived with expectations of what we would be and what our path would look like, but medical school has a way of dismantling some of those assumptions. It forces you to confront your limits and fall short in ways you never even anticipated. But in doing so, it reveals the gap between who you thought you would be and who you're currently becoming. And that gap is not failure. That gap is the entire journey. Somewhere along that journey, this individual transformation became a collective one. We stopped being just a group of individuals striving for similar goals, and rather became a community shaped by shared experiences. The people sitting next to you today started off as just peers, and slowly, some of them have become as close as your own family members. They were there during board season, when the anxiety was so heavy, it followed us into our sleep. They reminded you of who you were when even you forgot. They picked you up in your toughest moments and have sat next to you and prayed for your success this entire time. And that is how we learned the true meaning of medicine, not built on individual achievement, but rather on human connection. That meaning becomes ever so clear the first time a patient trusts you, not because of what you know as a third-year medical student, but because of how you showed up. In that moment, you realize that being a physician is not just about competence, it's about presence. It's about humanity. Yet, holding on to that humanity is so much harder than it sounds, because there's a tendency in medical school to measure success through scores, honors, and residency placements. Maybe that matters to some people, but they're far from the full story. And I want to tell you a little bit about my fellow classmates. Some of you have planted roots in the most underserved communities in the corners of San Diego, becoming the student doctors that no one ever thought they might ever have access to. Some of you went all the way overseas, not just to learn, but to serve those communities, be challenged by them, and change the way you practice. Some of you earned a PhD alongside this MD, driven by the fact that science done well can heal patients that you might never even communicate or see. Some of you stood in front of governing bodies and demanded better. Some of you have already moved the needle on research in your respective specialties as medical students. And wow, some of you have done all these things while raising your children, caring for your families, and caring for your loved ones. But most importantly, every single one of you has worked tirelessly to become the best doctors you can be before even wearing that MD title on your coat. And that is who this class really is. They've all been called upon time and time again to serve, and they've always showed up without failure. So carry that spirit into what comes next, because there will be moments in residency that test your dedication and remind you of what medicine cannot fix. And when those tough moments come, we return to what is steady, to the people that are the reason we're sitting here today. To our parents, our families, our friends, our loudest cheerleaders, and our quietest constants. You all are the real strength of how we are all sitting here on this day. The people who gave us love gave us something no curriculum could ever teach. They gave us patience when we were overwhelmed. They gave us grace when we were absent. And they gave us love that has never had any conditions attached to it. What a privilege it is to be loved and supported unconditionally by those around us. What a privilege it is to be challenged and exhausted by a life we chose. Because not all challenges in life were chosen. Many people carry so many burdens they never asked for. And that awareness should stay with all of us. Because that is the weight of this work. And in the end, that is also what makes this work matter. Not the titles we hold, not the accolades we accumulate, but rather the moment a patient looks at you in their darkest hour and finds, in all of you, a reason to believe that tomorrow will be a better day. Class of 2026, my lovely friends and classmates, this has been an honor that I'll cherish for my entire lifetime. Thank you, and congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Vasan. It's now my pleasure to introduce today's alumni speaker, Dr. Jeffrey Krebs, president of the UC San Diego Medical Alumni Association. A proud member of the class of 1986, Dr. Krebs dedicated over 36 years of his life to internal medicine. Beyond his medical contributions, Dr. Krebs is an accomplished endurance athlete, and he's completed numerous marathons and Ironman triathlons, including the prestigious Boston Marathon 11 times and counting, exemplifying resilience and dedication. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Krebs.
Thank you, Dean Daniel. Good morning. Congratulations, class of 2026. Tomorrow marks 40 years since I graduated from UC San Diego School of Medicine. I don't know how that happened. Thank you. And as my 40th reunion approaches, I have found myself reflecting on the remarkable education that I received here and the deeply fulfilling career that this education made possible. Throughout our lives, and certainly in medicine, we are shaped by mentors who leave lasting impressions. Some offer insights that we will carry with us forever. I still remember Dr. Katsumi Miyai, my second-year histology professor, who advised us to use a low-power microscope and a high-power brain. In other words, we should remember to look at the entire picture rather than focusing on one small detail. And Dr. Helen Ranney, my internal medicine clerkship attending, and the first woman to chair a Department of Internal Medicine in the United States, who reminded me on my very first day of my medicine clerkship that unless I knew everything there is to know about my patient, that every patient should be terribly interesting to me. There is always something else to discover and learn. Their words, along with many others, have guided me throughout my career. And you'll discover that mentorship can come from many places. Now, those of you who know me know that I love quoting film and television. So today, not to disappoint, I'd like to share a few lines that have stayed with me and which may resonate with you as you begin your next chapter. In the infamous cerulean blue scene in The Devil Wears Prada, no, it's not what you think. Nigel, played by Stanley Tucci, offers simple but powerful advice to Andy, played by Anne Hathaway. Stand, watch, and listen. These three words carry real weight in medicine. Listening closely to our patients and colleagues and taking the time to observe thoughtfully can teach us more than we might expect. And in Ted Lasso, there's a memorable scene centered around the game of darts. Ted recalls a quote often attributed to Walt Whitman: "Be curious, not judgmental." It's a reminder that assumptions can limit us, while curiosity opens the door to understanding. In medicine, this mindset is invaluable. When we remain curious, we ask better questions, and the answers we uncover are often both meaningful and deeply rewarding. So, to our newest physicians, what words of wisdom will you carry with you? As president of your Medical Alumni Association, it is my honor to welcome you into this extraordinary community. We are here for you, not only today, but throughout your entire career as a source of support, mentorship, education, and connection. And when the time feels right, we hope that you'll give back, whether through mentoring, teaching, volunteering, or simply showing up for those who follow in your footsteps. The impact of your engagement will extend far beyond what you can see. On behalf of all alumni, we are immensely proud of your accomplishments, inspired by your dedication, and excited to see all that lies ahead for you. And my personal hope is that when your 40th reunion comes around, which will come faster than you think, believe me, that you too will look on your time here at UCSD School of Medicine and on your medical career made possible with as much pride and appreciation as I do now. I would also like to take a moment to recognize the family members and friends who are here and who have supported you along the way. Their encouragement and belief have helped make this day possible. So I'd like to leave you with one more thought, and this is from the movie Patch Adams. You treat a disease, you'll win, you'll lose. You treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter the outcome. Congratulations again.
Thank you, Dr. Krebs. And it is now my great honor to introduce UC San Diego School of Medicine's 2026 commencement speaker, Dr. Diana Ramos. Dr. Diana Ramos is California's first Latina Surgeon General and the state's leading voice on urgent public health challenges. She champions solutions for adverse childhood experiences, mental health, and maternal mortality, shaping policies that improve the health of all Californians. For 3 decades, she's delivered compassionate obstetric gynecologic care to thousands of patients at Southern California Kaiser Permanente. She received her MD from USC's Keck School of Medicine, an MPH from UCLA, and an MBA from UC Irvine's Paul Merge School of Business. Dr. Ramos's vision, equitable care for vulnerable communities, continues to reshape public health across California. Welcome, Dr. Ramos.
Thank you. Congratulations, UC San Diego School of Medicine, class of 2026. You did it. Felicidades. So proud of you. After years of studying, training, sacrificing, doubting, and showing up again and again, you are here. Today, you officially become physicians. This moment belongs not just to you, but to all the people surrounding you, all the friends, the families, the loved ones here today who have timelessly prepared meals for you, who have said prayers for you for your exams, sent text messages, have done so many quiet acts of love that helped all of you reach this day today. We appreciate you. Thank you for sitting out here in the hot sun. That shows love. To the faculty, yes, absolutely. To the faculty, administration, clinical teams, and staff of UC San Diego School of Medicine, thank you for shaping these graduates into physicians who care deeply, think boldly, and are ready to lead medicine into its next chapter. We all appreciate you. Class of 2026, as I look at you today, I see more than new physicians. I see healers, scientists, innovators, and trusted voices. Most importantly, I see leaders who are stepping into medicine at one of the most exciting and transformative moments in history. Today is also a powerful reflection of the future of medicine. 71% of this graduating class are all women. This is something to celebrate. It reflects a generation of physicians bringing extraordinary talent, perspective, compassion, and leadership into every part of medicine. This is not only a milestone for women, it's a milestone for medicine, because when medicine is shaped by the full range of talent in our society, patients, teams, and communities benefit. Today, we celebrate a class that reflects both excellence and possibility. As you prepare to step into the next chapter, it is worth remembering what makes medicine so powerful. Science, discovery, and innovation will continue to transform how we care for people. But at the heart of healing is something timeless, the human connection. I learned that lesson early in my life. When I was a child, I remember going to the doctor with my mother. Spanish was her preferred language, and to our surprise, the physician spoke Spanish. She was actively engaged in conversation with him, and at the end of the visit, when we were in the car, she said, "I feel so much better. He's a great doctor." At first, I didn't fully understand. He had not performed any dramatic procedure, given any new miracle drug. Nothing had changed immediately in her body. But something had changed. She had been seen. More importantly, she had been heard. She had been cared for in a language she understood, and that physician smiled, listened, reassured her. He honored her dignity. And in that moment, I learned something that has stayed with me throughout my entire career. Listening can be healing. Trust can be healing. Being seen can be healing. That is the human touch. Class of 2026, that is the gift you carry forward today. Yes, you are graduating into a world of evolving technology, precision medicine, digital tools, all of which can help us diagnose earlier, treat smarter, and prevent disease before it progresses. But never forget this. Medicine begins with a human being caring for another human being. That is why my message to you today is simple. Be the bridge. Be the bridge between science and humanity, between health and innovation, and between technology and trust. You are the bridge between the healthcare system we have and the healthier future we know is possible. Trust is essential and foundational for healing. You, as physicians, are among the most trusted messengers in society. You are the people that patients turn to when they are afraid, confused, or overwhelmed. You are the people families look to when they need someone to translate the mystery of science into everyday language. That role is sacred and is needed now more than ever. You are entering medicine at a time when information is everywhere, but trust can feel fragile. Patients can search symptoms online. They can encounter misinformation many times before they even walk into your exam room. Information is not the same as wisdom or the same as being cared for. This is where you come in. Tech and innovation can help expand what is possible in medicine, but these tools need physicians to guide them. They need your judgment, your ethics, your compassion, and your understanding of the patient, the human being behind the data. You are the one who knows to ask the patient, what matters most to you? That ability to understand the person, the moment, and the path forward is not only essential for your patients, it is essential for your own journey. Your path will not always be linear. Even when you have a plan, medicine has a way of teaching us, redirecting us, and preparing us in unexpected ways. I learned that early. When I was an undergrad, I started out as a pre-med bio major. Like many of you, I had a plan. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew what I wanted to become. After my first year, an advisor told me that my science GPA was not strong enough and that I should consider another career. I was shocked. To me, no was not an option. I had to be honest with myself. I had to ask, what do I do now? How do I keep moving forward? What skills do I need to become the kind of physician I want to be? I pivoted. I changed my major to communication. At the time, it may have looked like a detour, but looking back, it was one of the most important decisions in my life. Communication became central to everything I would later do, from caring for patients, speaking with families, working in public health, and serving as California Surgeon General. What I thought was a setback became preparation. What I felt like a closed door became a new direction. I share that with you because some of you are exactly where you dreamed you would be. And some of you may be somewhere different than you expected. Maybe medical school didn't unfold exactly the way you imagined. And some of you may even have wondered whether you were meant to be physicians. Match day may have brought joy, relief, complexity, or a little bit of all three. I want you to hear this. You are where you are meant to be. That doesn't mean every step was easy, and it doesn't mean every disappointment made sense in the moment. It means that every experience, even the unexpected ones, were a bridge to prepare you for the work ahead. Medicine will ask you to pivot again and again because science and technology continue to evolve at dizzying paces. Patience will teach you things no textbook ever could. And systems will challenge you. Your own dreams may grow in ways you cannot yet imagine. When that happens, don't panic. Embrace it, pause, learn, and pivot. Keep growing. Remember, those are the bridges that will connect you to the next phase of your career and your life. The physician you become may be even greater than the physician you plan to be. That physician, the one you are becoming, is entering a world that needs systems change. Every one of you has seen that healthcare is not just one patient, one diagnosis, or one visit at a time. We cannot forget that 80% of health happens outside the healthcare setting. Patients come to us carrying more than symptoms. They carry their stress, their housing, their food access, their trust, and sometimes their lack of trust in the healthcare system. As physicians, you will care for the patient in front of you, and you will have the opportunity to see the patterns around that patient. When the same complication happens again and again, ask why. I remember caring for a 6-month pregnant mom who presented to triage in the hospital at 3 a.m. in the morning. I noticed that it happened a few times throughout the past month. I asked, is there anything that happens at 3 in the morning that brings you in? She said, yes, my husband gets off work at 1. And there's no one to take care of my children during the day, so I can come to my prenatal care appointment. It was by me asking the why that I was able to hear her story, and together we came up with a solution to help her get the care she needed during the day. Don't be afraid to ask why. You can be the bridge to resources available in the community that can improve health and outcomes. This is part of the solution to improve health systems. Class of 2026, you have the credibility to be the bridge to create change. Because as physicians, when you speak, people listen. When you explain, people learn. And when you advocate, doors open. Use that credibility wisely. Do not underestimate the power of your voice in the healthcare setting, policy, and beyond. System changes are what bridge innovation with healthier outcomes. The next era of medicine will not be defined by technology alone. It will be defined by whether technology helps us reach people earlier, prevent disease sooner, and restore the human connection. As important as everything you have learned over these past 4 years, medicine will continue to evolve quickly, and the future of medical knowledge will literally be at your fingertips, accessible through evidence-based tools and evolving technologies that we are only beginning to imagine. But the parts of medicine that truly make you great will deepen over time. Your warmth, your listening, your presence, your judgment, your humanity. Those are the gifts that grow with experience. And every patient will teach you something. Some will teach you about disease, some will teach you about courage, others will teach you about relationships, resilience, and hope. Be humble enough to learn from them. Your patients will come from different backgrounds, languages, communities, and lived experiences. And if you listen closely, they will not only make you a better physician, they will make you a better human being. Please remember, as you give so much of yourself to this calling, your own humanity must be protected. I learned that lesson in a simple but unforgettable moment with my son. I was on a plane with my then 3-year-old son, and the flight attendant gave the instructions we've all heard. Put your oxygen mask on first before helping your child. My son looked at me and said, "Mommy, don't you love me? Don't you want to put my mask on first?" I explained to him, if I don't put my oxygen mask on first, I will not have the strength to help you. He thought about it and then said, "Okay, Mommy, take care of yourself first." Class of 2026, that is a lesson for medicine. Take care of yourself first so we can then care for our patients. As physicians, we're trained to show up, we push through, we witness fear, death, birth, recovery, and joy. This is meaningful work. It is also human work, and you are human. Your humanity, your joy, so important. Stay connected to your family, find mentors, build community, exercise, rest your body when you can, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Remember who you were before medicine and bring that person with you. Your patients do not need a perfect physician. They need a present one who is whole enough to listen, healthy enough to lead, and humble enough to learn, human enough to connect. That is what will sustain you. That is what will sustain medicine. Class of 2026, you are graduating from UC San Diego at a time when the world needs exactly what you have been trained to offer. So as you leave this campus and step into the paths that await you, remember this: be the bridge. Bridge health and innovation, bridge science and humanity, bridge the patient in front of you with the system that must serve them better. The white coat you wear is not just a symbol of knowledge, it's a symbol of trust. The degree you receive today is not just proof of what you have learned, it's a promise of how you will serve. The future of medicine will be defined by physicians like you who know that healing begins with human warmth. You are ready, you are needed, you are where you are meant to be. Now go forth and be the bridge. Congratulations, class of 2026.
Thank you, Dr. Ramos. I would now like to welcome my colleague, Dr. Sean Evans, Associate Dean for Undergraduate Medical Education, to bestow the Kaiser Excellence in Teaching Awards.
The Kaiser Excellence in Teaching Awards are given to School of Medicine faculty who excel in their work as preclinical or clinical educators. The award was made possible by a 1974 grant to the university from the Kaiser Foundation Hospitals to express the high regard held by the physicians and administrators of the Kaiser Permanente Medical Care Program for the University of California, San Diego School of Medicine. The winners are selected by each class of medical students. Will the faculty receiving these awards please come to the podium as I announce your names? The first-year class selected Dr. Jeffrey Noel from the Department of Surgery. The second-year class selected Dr. Dina Rifkin from the Department of Medicine. The fourth year and graduating class selected Dr. Sarah McKinney, Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. The Kaiser Award is also given to an outstanding member of the House staff who has distinguished themselves in the teaching of third and fourth year medical students. Will the following House staff members selected by the third and fourth year classes please come forward when I announce your name? Dr. Edmundo Esparza, the Department of Internal Medicine Senior Resident. Congratulations to all the Kaiser Award winners.
Chancellor Khosla will now confer the Doctorate of Philosophy to our Medical Scientist Training Program graduates.
Well, I'm back again. So this is my signature you're waiting for. Okay, the Doctorate of Philosophy degree recognizes the independent completion of an important research project under the guidance of a mentor. It recognizes the generation of new knowledge that may someday alter patient care. In this way, the PhD differs fundamentally from the emphasis on the acquisition of scientific knowledge and clinical skills that characterize the MD. Thus, the MD PhD recipient we honor at this ceremony has truly demonstrated intense mastery of one topic. She or he has made sacrifices deserving of special recognition. So, candidates for the Doctorate of Philosophy, please rise. As candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy, you have voluntarily submitted yourself to the traditional disciplines that become the scholar in the pursuit of knowledge and have proven yourself worthy of this high calling. So, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the University of California Regents and the President, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations. And now I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Judy Kim, Dean of the Division of Graduate Education and Postdoctoral Affairs. She will present the PhD degree candidates. Dr. Kim.
Thank you, Chancellor Khosla. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce the candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Alec Kalak is being hooded by Dr. Mary Lewinsky from the Department of Medicine. His dissertation is entitled Indigenous Data Sovereignty in the Era of Big Data. Morgan Shalmers is being hooded by Seba Varma from the Department of Anthropology. Her dissertation is entitled Phantoms and Fantasies of Humanitarian Empire, the Effective Logics of Necropower from Amman to San Diego. Isabel Constantino is being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Department of Medicine. Her dissertation is entitled ELAVL3 Disruption in Amyotrophic Lateral Sclerosis and Frontotemporal Lobar Degeneration, a Neuropathological View. E.J. Curtis is being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Department of Medicine. His dissertation is entitled Unveiling the Hidden Players, Investigating the Dynamics of Extrachromosomal DNA Heterogeneity in Cancer. James Dang is being hooded by Dr. Paul Insel from the Department of Pharmacology and Medicine. His dissertation is entitled Astrocyte BMP Signaling in Fragile X Syndrome and Cortical Development. Samia Jaini is being hooded by Dr. Lindsay Burnett from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Her dissertation is entitled Circulating Disease-Specific CD8 T Cells in Merkel Cell Carcinoma and COVID-19, Prognostic Significance and Improved Approaches for Their Detection. Bojing Balerjea is being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Department of Medicine. His dissertation is entitled Multiplex Genome Imaging and Analysis. Imani Law is being hooded by Dr. Meredith Barnes from the Department of Medicine. Her dissertation is entitled Philosophy, Race, and Medicine. Juliet Margot Tai Snyder Nicodemus is being hooded by Dr. Gerald Chun from the Department of Pharmacology. Her dissertation is entitled Identification of Endogenous Neural Reverse Transcriptase Activity and the Transcriptomic Diversity of L1-ORF2 in the Human Brain. Diana Munyi Smith is being hooded by Dr. Terry Jernigan from the Department of Cognitive Science. Her dissertation is entitled Mixed Effects Models for Adolescent Brain and Cognitive Development. Lauren Wedekind is being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Department of Medicine. Her dissertation is entitled Genetic and Non-Genetic Influences on Birth Weight and Type 2 Diabetes. This concludes the conferral of the Doctor of Philosophy degree. I now return the ceremony to Vice Dean Daniel.
Now I would like to invite Dr. Luis Castellanos, Executive Director of the Program in Medical Education Health Equity, and Dr. Tommy Gaines, Director of the Program in Medical Education Transforming Indigenous Doctor Education, to the podium to introduce the graduating Prime Health Equity students and Prime Tide students.
Thank you, Dean Daniel. The program in medical education, Health Equity, is a program whose main goal is to educate our medical students in health disparities, social determinants of health, and help them become physician leaders in order to improve the care of vulnerable groups in our underserved communities. In addition to completing a medical degree, each Prime student is required to obtain a master's degree or complete a scholarly project in the discipline of their choice. I will now introduce each Prime Health Equity graduate and ask that they stand and remain standing to recognize their name as is being called. Jacqueline Damaris, Master of Public Health, Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. Tini Elisara, Master of Public Health, Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. Allison Foreman, Master of Public Health, UC Berkeley School of Public Health. Isabel Garandilla Burdick. Master of Public Health, UC San Diego Herbert Wilmuth School of Public Health and Human Longevity Science. Star Q Mi Win. Master of Public Health, UC San Diego Herbert Wilmuth School of Public Health and Human Longevity Science. Shaden Kelly Lopez. Master of Public Health, UC San Diego Herbert Wilmuth School of Public Health in Human Longevity Science. Lily Nguyen. Master of Public Health, UC San Diego Herbert Wilmuth School of Public Health and Human Longevity Science. Brittany O'Banner. Master of Public Health, Columbia University Mailman School of Public Health. Anna Nua O. Master of Public Health, UC San Diego Herbert Wilmuth School of Public Health and Human Longevity Science. Ishan Saha. Master of Public Health, Harvard Tia Chan School of Public Health. Danny Sher. Master of Public Health, UC San Diego Herbert Wilmuth School of Public Health and Human Longevity Science. Gabrielle Schumann. Master of Public Health, Johns Hopkins University Bloomberg School of Public Health. Karen Villegas. Master of Public Health, Johns Hopkins University Bloomberg School of Public Health. Jasmine Zook. UC San Diego Graduate Study, Health Belief, Mindset, and Health Behavior Practice among American Indian Strong Heart participants. Congratulations to our graduating UC San Diego Prime Health Equity students.
All right, so the Transforming Indigenous Doctor Education, also known as Prime Tide, is a program whose main goal is to prepare medical students for careers focused on providing health care to Native American and Indigenous populations. This is accomplished by didactic and experiential training on the specific healthcare needs of this population, the cultural context in which that care is provided, and how medical research may inform decisions made by healthcare personnel. I will now introduce our Prime Tide graduates and ask that they stand and remain standing to be recognized as their name is called. Alec Kalak. Danny Scher. And Yasmin Zook. Congratulations to our graduating UC San Diego Prime Tide students.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite Dr. Sarah Auerbach, Director of the Global Health Academic Concentration, to introduce the graduating Global Health students.
The Global Health Academic Concentration is a program designed to equip students with the knowledge, skills, and experiential learning necessary for careers in global health. The curriculum emphasizes understanding the challenges, ethical considerations, and complexities of global healthcare delivery and research, while also exploring the social structural determinants of health inequities and promoting strategies for capacity building and sustainable global partnership. In addition to completing a medical degree, each student is required to complete requisite coursework and 2 mentored global health rotations. I would now like to introduce each Global Health Academic Concentration student and ask them to stand and remain standing to be recognized while their name is called. Alexis Elliott. Research performed in Quito, Ecuador, clinical rotation in pediatrics in Quito, Ecuador. Mira Mahmood. Research performed in Salvador, Brazil. Clinical rotation in critical care medicine in Maputo, Mozambique. Maimuna Cheryl Marina. Research performed in Maputo, Mozambique. Clinical rotation in internal medicine in Quito, Ecuador. Alicia Muna Paudo. Research performed in Kathmandu, Nepal. Clinical rotation in surgery in Hanoi, Vietnam. Congratulations, Global Health Academic Concentration graduates. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Dr. Auerbach. I would now like to invite Dr. Kama Galuma, Associate Dean for Admissions and Student Affairs, to present the class of 2026 to Chancellor Khosla, who will confer your medical degrees.
Everybody needs instruction.
Chancellor Khosla, I have the honor of presenting the 55th graduating class of the UC San Diego School of Medicine.
Candidates for the degree of Doctor of Medicine, please rise. Okay, you have submitted yourselves to the intellectual and emotional disciplines that become the scholar in the pursuit of knowledge and the healer of the sick. You have proved yourselves worthy of this high calling. Therefore, by the virtue of the authority vested in me by the University of California Regents and the President, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Medicine. Congratulations.
We will now start the part of the ceremony wherein each graduate receives their Doctor of Medicine hood from a chosen faculty member. You can sit. We'll get you. Let me take a moment to explain the graduation attire. Academic dress dates back to the 12th century when the wearing of hoods and robes originated out of the need to keep warm in unheated buildings. Now they serve to keep us warm in sunny Southern California. Later, the hoods became used as a way to differentiate and recognize various grades of scholars. Our students and faculty are wearing doctoral gowns, which are distinguished from bachelor and master's gowns by their belled sleeves, velvet panels down the front, and velvet chevrons on the sleeves. The academic hoods utilize colors to signify both the academic institution as well as the degree earned. The hoods for the MD degree have a Kelly green velvet or velveteen trim, the color signifying medicine. The PhD hoods have a dark blue velvet, regardless of the field in which the PhD was obtained. These colors are specific to the United States. The satin within the hood signifies the institution by color. Our students will be proudly wearing the blue and gold of the University of California. Graduates, as I announce your names, please follow the directions of the staff members to join the faculty on the stage to accept your hood and receive your certificate from Dean Young and Vice Dean Daniel. So let's get started. The first is Vince Adair, who's being hooded by Dr. Jim Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Avelina Brenner, being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Jacqueline Damaris, who's being hooded by Dr. Alyssa Brzezinski from the Department of Anesthesiology. Paul Chung, who's being hooded by Dr. Aaron Reid from the Department of Medicine. Taini Elisara, who's being hooded by Dr. Dean Maria Rosario Araneta from Family Medicine. Allison Foreman, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Julian Wing-Kung Fricks, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Isabel Gandaria, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Star Q Mi Win, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Julia Kelly, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Albert Lee, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Daniel Lee, who's being hooded by Dr. Brian Kwan from the Department of Medicine. Minsub Lee, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Shaden Kelly Lopez, who's being hooded by Dr. Tony Lopez from the Department of Medicine. Happens to be her father. His father. His father. Leo Meller, who's being hooded by Dr. Robert Weinreb from the Department of Ophthalmology. Brittany Obano, who's being hooded by Dr. Jacob Bailey from the Department of Medicine. Anu Paneerselvam, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Anastasia Rahanik, who's being hooded by Dr. Desiree Shapiro from the Department of Psychiatry. Danny Schurer, who's being hooded by Dr. Parag Sanghvi from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Gabrielle Schumann, who's being hooded by Dr. Audra Meadows from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Elizabeth Tran, who's being hooded by Dr. Jennifer Anger from the Department of Urology. Karen Villegas, who's being hooded by Dr. Veronica Gonzalez from the Department of Medicine. Yasmin Aliyah Zook, who's being hooded by Dr. Matthew Allison from the Department of Family Medicine. Nimit Desai, who's being hooded by Dr. Jorge Fernandez from the Department of Emergency Medicine. Savannah Kathleen Fakuri, who's being hooded by Dr. George Hightower from the Department of Dermatology. Maya Kalbag, who's being hooded by Dr. Gayatri Chavalkumar from the Department of Pediatrics. Bridget Larkin, who's being hooded by Dr. Jorge Fernandez from the Department of Emergency Medicine. Nathan Magalit, who's being hooded by Dr. Jorge Fernandez from the Department of Emergency Medicine. Mira Mahmood, who's being hooded by Dr. Joseph Diaz from the Department of Medicine. Maimuna Cheryl Marina, who's being hooded by Dr. Jorge Fernandez, Department of Emergency Medicine. Donya Mazdayaznan, who's being hooded by Dr. Jane Relden from the Department of Family Medicine. Bridget Ellen McCarty, who's being hooded by Dr. Kristen Wigby from the Department of Pediatrics. Dianita Patil McCutcheon, who's being hooded by Dr. Jorge Fernandez, Department of Emergency Medicine. Jesse Aaron Most, who's being hooded by Dr. Shaimanga Bura from the Department of Ophthalmology. Mustafa Hatem Naguib, who's being hooded by Dr. Matthias Ramses from the Department of Medicine. Pooja Nair, who's being hooded by Dr. Joseph Diaz from Department of Medicine. Alicia Muna Powdell, who's being hooded by Dr. Jennifer Berriman from the Department of Surgery. Somia Ravichandran, who's being hooded by Dr. Jamie Labuzeta from the Department of Neurosciences. Colleen Sweeney, who's being hooded by Dr. Michelle Johnson from the Department of Family Medicine. Ananya Venkatesh, who's being hooded by Dr. Joseph Diaz from the Department of Medicine. Lauren Wiedekun, who's being hooded by Dr. Nathan Scott from the Department of Ophthalmology. Annika Ashcraft, who's being hooded by Dr. Joseph Chachi from the Department of Neurological Surgery. Alexander Aukus, who's being hooded by Dr. Joseph Chachi from the Department of Neurological Surgery. Pallavi Chandrasekhar, who's being hooded by Dr. Julia McPherson from the Department of Family Medicine. Ava Jacqueline Gordon, who's being hooded by Dr. Jennifer Anger from the Department of Neurology. Anthony Ho, who's being hooded by Dr. Sean Tutton from the Department of Interventional Radiology. Celeste Chu, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Sydney Lin, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Bao Lu, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Emily Pedrick, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. V. Xuan Pham, who's being hooded by Dr. Shang Jiang from the Department of Dermatology. Austin Powell, who's being hooded by Dr. Jacob Bailey from the Department of Medicine. Emma Rice, who's being hooded by Dr. Jamie Lebozetta from the Department of Neurosciences. Miranda Robinson, who's being hooded by Dr. Julia McPherson from the Department of Family Medicine. Emma Rommelfunger, who's being hooded by Dr. Julia McPherson from the Department of Family Medicine. Ishan Shaha, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation, Dr. Joseph Chachi from the Department of Neurological Surgery. Ryan Sindewald, who's being hooded by Dr. David Santiago Depa from the Department of Neurosurgery. Harmony Stroll, who's being hooded by Dr. Irene Su from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Caitlin Tran, who's being hooded by Min Tran from the Department of Anesthesiology. Melanie Tran, who's being hooded by Dr. Shaimanga Buria from the Department of Ophthalmology. Angela Wang, who's being hooded by Dr. Brian Kwan from the Department of Medicine. Lynette Acosta Mercado, who's being hooded by Dr. Desiree Shapiro from the Department of Psychiatry. Alec Kalak, who's being hooded by Dr. Luis Castellanos from the Department of Medicine. Morgan Chalmers, who's being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Departments of Medicine and Pediatrics. Isabel Costantino, who's being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Department of Medicine and Pediatrics. E.J. Curtis, who's being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Departments of Medicine and Pediatrics. Sean Deng, who's being hooded by Dr. Sean Kenmore from the Department of Medicine. Or James Deng. Yeah. James Deng, that's right. Alexis Elliott, who's being hooded by Dr. Chris Canavino from the Department of Pediatrics. Soumya Jani, who's being hooded by Dr. Simranjot Jassal from the Department of Medicine. Bojing Blair Jia, who's being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Departments of Medicine and Pediatrics. Sandhya Kalavacherla, who's being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Departments of Medicine and Pediatrics. Imani Law, who's being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Departments of Medicine and Pediatrics. Amber Lee, who's being hooded by Dr. Michelle Wu from the Department of Psychiatry. Kelly Ray Lopez, who's being hooded by Dr. Ariana Melendez from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Science. Nhi Gok Quinn Nguyen, who's being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Departments of Medicine and Pediatrics. Juliet Margot Tai Snyder Nicodemus, who's being hooded by Dr. Nicole Kufal from the Department of Pediatrics. Amanda Lee Nyam, who's being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Departments of Medicine and Pediatrics. Kelsey Plembeck, who's being hooded by Ariel Portera from Primary Care. Ayad Kas Yonan, who's being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Departments of Medicine and Pediatrics. Diana Munye Smith, who's being hooded by Dr. Michelle Johnson from the Department of Family Medicine. Sabrina Strauss, who's being hooded by Dr. Mahmoud Malas from the Department of Surgery. Sneha Tundra, who's being hooded by Dr. Ann Gaffey from the Department of Surgery. Nash Daniel Toma, who is being hooded by Dr. Duanil Valles from the Department of Medicine. Mitchell Wong, who is being hooded by Dr. Lori Wan from the Departments of Medicine and Pediatrics. Jasmine Aurora, who's being hooded by Dr. James Murphy from the Department of Radiation Medicine and Applied Sciences. Catherine Chen, who's being hooded by Dr. Aliyah Brubaker from the Department of Surgery. Abby Irvin, who's being hooded by Dr. Charles Coffey from the Department of Otolaryngology. Anthony Galvez, who's being hooded by Dr. Jennifer Anger from the Department of Urology. Nicole Alexis Gamboa, who's being hooded by Catherine Winters from Medicine. Vasan Jagadish, who's being hooded by Dr. Charles Coffey from the Department of Otolaryngology. Brianna Lee, who's being hooded by Dr. Natalie Afshari from the Department of Ophthalmology. Stephanie Lushniak, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Zoe Matix, who's being hooded by Dr. Julia Cormano from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Angelica Hapson Means, who's being hooded by Dr. Michelle Johnson from the Department of Family Medicine. Sadie Munter, who's being hooded by Dr. Jeff Rees from the Department of Surgery. Lily Nguyen, who's being hooded by Dr. Charles Coffey from the Department of Otolaryngology. Taiki Nishihara, who's being hooded by Dr. Natalie Afshari from the Department of Ophthalmology. Nicolette Mora Pepin, who's being hooded by Dr. Genevieve Kaunitz from the Department of Dermatology. Nicole Racklin, who's being hooded by Dr. Charles Coffey from the Department of Otolaryngology. Anika Sinha, who's being hooded by Dr. Alyssa Brzezinski from the Department of Anesthesiology. Liz Temple, who's being hooded by Dr. Catherine Winters from medicine. Madison Alexander, who's being hooded by Dr. Young Hughes Austin from orthopedic surgery. Matthew Allen, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Evan Ashcraft, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Aidan Galati, who's being hooded by Dr. Patricia Brady from the Department of Family Medicine. Kareem Khalifa, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Adam Lane, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Alexis McDonald, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Irene Mai, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, and Reproductive Sciences. Uyen Nguyen, who's hooded by Dr. Jeffrey Rudy from the Department of Radiology. Sheila Noon, who's being hooded by Dr. Jeffrey Swimmer from the Department of Pediatrics. Ana Hua O, who's being hooded by Dr. Natalie Rodriguez from the Department of Family Medicine. Sanjana Sanghani, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Natalie Sarafian, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Yasoda Satpathy, who's being hooded by Leslie Martin from the Department of Medicine. Michael Schulte, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Departments of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Timothy Sestak, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Hallie Ray Waltz, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Catherine Wilson, who's being hooded by Dr. Gina Fragoni from the Department of Obstetrics, Gynecology, and Reproductive Sciences. Nicole Shu, who's being hooded by Dr. Rodney Gabriel from the Department of Anesthesiology. Congratulations, class of 2026.
Doctors. In just a few minutes, you will take the oath of Hippocrates, and I will delight in welcoming you, the UC San Diego School of Medicine class of 2026, as our newest colleagues into the profession of medicine. But as you prepare to take the oath, I want you to take a moment to reflect on your why. The path to becoming a healer is not an easy path. It takes grit, commitment, resilience, and sacrifice. Medical school was hard. Residency will demand even more of you. So as you begin the next phase of your journey, my advice is simple. Set your why as your true north. Make sure that what you do and how you do it are all in service of your why. For if you do this, you will be blessed. You will wake up inspired, go to bed fulfilled, and live a life rich in meaning and purpose. Joy Golliver once said, "The meaning of life is to find your gifts, and the purpose of life is to give them away." When I was 10, my father was diagnosed with metastatic cancer, and my mom declared that she was not the nursing type, so I stepped in to care for him. And as I loved my dad goodbye, I found my gifts. I was meant to care for the sick. I gave him my empathy and compassion, and I helped him find joy amidst his pain. I offered my strength when his wore out. More recently, I brought our beloved Aunt Lulu home on hospice, and I served her gin and tonics, and we sang songs about the things that sag when you get old. And we reminisced about juggling the turkey giblets at Thanksgiving dinner and hiding it from the parents. And my husband said, "You know, you don't need to do this. We can hire someone." And after a particularly long night, my brother-in-law told me, "I notice you always take on the worst jobs in this family. But from my perspective, they are the best jobs." Whether I'm caring for my family or for strangers, sharing my gifts as a healer fills my cup, and it gives my life purpose. A few years ago, I met a man that I'll call Gary. And Gary had saved for years to take his family on a cruise. And as he was celebrating life with his 6 children and 14 grandchildren, he began to experience belly pain. And when the cruise ended, he came straight to the ED. And I knew before I saw his CT results that the news would be bad. He had widely metastatic pancreatic cancer and a few short months to live. And he said, "Give it to me straight, Doc." He wanted to know exactly what was ahead so he could prepare his affairs to care for his family in death as he had in life. And so in the middle of the night, I came back and I sat with Gary. And I listened to his stories, and we joked and we laughed. And as the sun came up, he took my hand, raised it to his lips, and kissed it. I told the man he was dying, and he kissed my hand and said, "Thank you." I went home that morning inspired by his grace, feeling fulfilled. Medicine is my calling. Serving the sick is my why and my true north. Make your why your true north. Find your unique gifts and spend your life giving them away, and you too will discover the secret of happiness. Thank you. Will the graduates please rise? To all assembled, the graduating class of 2025 will now make the declaration of the Oath of Hippocrates. You may find the oath on page 2 of the commencement program. Please repeat after me as I read the oath. Now being admitted to the profession of medicine, I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life in the service of humanity. I will give respect and gratitude to my deserving teachers. I will practice medicine with conscience and dignity. The health and life of my patient will be my first consideration. I will hold in confidence all that my patient confides in me. I will maintain the honor and noble traditions of the medical profession. I will not permit consideration of race, gender, religion. Nationality, ideology, or social standing. To intervene between my duty and my patient. I will maintain the utmost respect for human life and its quality. And even under threat, I will not use my knowledge contrary to the laws of humanity. These promises I make freely and upon my honor. Graduates, please be seated. In just a moment, we will conclude the ceremony, and after the faculty and student recessional, I invite you all to join us for a reception just outside of the amphitheater. And the graduates will meet you there after they assemble on stage for the class photograph. Graduates, please follow your academic community directors and staff instructions to line up for that picture. And once you've taken your group photograph, please pick up your real diplomas in Pepper Canyon. So, before we end, I'd like to invite Dr. Happy Araneta, Associate Dean for Diversity and Community Partnerships, to lead the class of 2026 in one final act of celebration.
Thank you, Dean Daniel. Before we do the hat toss, we would like to acknowledge that our new physicians speak 33 languages, a priceless gift to their future patients. To the parents, grandparents, family, and friends, we extend our gratitude and our sincere congratulations. Felicidades! Gongxi, Badhai ho, Alf Mabruk, Ni Jonigo ni Inata, Noshon Lovik, Congratulazioni, Chukmong, Faamalo Atu, Igohonwe, Tahanina, Vadhayam, Glückwunsch, Mabesyo Matabrik Migim, Hongerasana, Malipayong pagtatapos, Vadhaitsa, Felicitación, Omedeto, Abinandan, Mubarak ho, gratis. Chughahamnida, He feliciteerd, Hauebriha, Pozdravlea, Shnorha Vorumem, Gonghele, Mazal Tov, Valdukal, Abinandan Negalu, at Maligayang Bati. The tradition of tossing graduation caps in the air started in 1912 at the U.S. Naval Academy when midshipmen graduated and received their officers' hats. So they tossed their old hats in the air in celebration. This joyful gesture signifies the end and the beginning of a new chapter, symbolizing the end of your path as medical students and the beginning of your journey as new physicians. So please stand. At the count of 3, grab your caps and toss them joyfully but gently. There are grandparents and babies behind you. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Congratulations.
Congratulations, class of 2026, and welcome to the profession of medicine.